So what you just saw is a video of a driver, Ed Popper, driving his Toyota Venza hybrid and is in the Miami area getting cut off. It's an experience that many of us have had. We've been singing along to a song, swearing at the terrible driving around us. For most of us though, we didn't have a gun in the car, so that's where the video would end. That would be the end of it. We'd be angry, maybe we'd flip the bird, we'd swear, and then we'd move on with our lives. Some people though drive around with guns, and that means that video you just saw can escalate into this. And that is what turned it from a normal instance of road rage to an incident that has left Ed Popper, the man in the video, awaiting trial on 2 felony charges, including aggressive assault with a firearm that could land him in up to 15 years in prison. Because when the guy that cut him off, and then they swore at each other, drove back beside him, he took out his gun and began wildly firing 11 shots through his own window and windshield, potentially killing the man who'd cut him off, potentially killing anyone else who just happened to be in the area, potentially killing him if it turned out he wouldn't be able to see out of his windshield anymore. He apparently didn't think about any of this, not even to the extent that he would roll down his window. He just had a gun, so he used the gun that he had. And as crazy as all of what you just saw is, all of what happened afterward is almost as weird. So both drivers pulled over after the incident and called 911. Both drivers, along with everyone else sharing the road, thankfully escaped unharmed. Thankfully, he didn't kill anyone with those 11 wild shots that day. And somehow they pulled over, and I don't know how close they were to each other, but it seems very weird that they would both pull over afterward. And I guess we're just past the shots that I fired. Now, Ed Popper claims that the Camry driver had a weapon and fired at him first. So don't worry, this was self-defense. And you might have heard in the video, there's a bang against the Toyota Venza as the Camry passes. Popper's attorney believes that the sounds prove Popper was shot at first. The Camry driver told police that he had merely thrown a water bottle at Popper's car and that he did not have a firearm with him. But they say, nope, it was a shot. That proves that this was self-defense. There are a few issues with that. One, from the video, it looks like the guy leaned out and threw something at the car, which, by the way, as a small note, don't throw something at someone else's car. It's a terrible idea, whether they have a gun or not. And this is America, so there's a good chance they will. Don't throw anything at their car. 2, they're gonna be able to look at the side of the car, and I have a feeling a water bottle dent and a shot to the side of the Venza are gonna look very different. So his argument that this justifies self-defense, that's a defense that feels like it's gonna fall apart pretty quickly. As well as the fact that in the video, we can see that he pulled out the gun way before the guy drove up beside him and threw the water bottle at his car. This guy was prepping to shoot. Now, maybe if the guy hadn't thrown the bottle, he wouldn't have. But in the footage, it looks like he was prepping to do it as the car began to approach. This looked like it was attempted murder at that point. We'll leave it to the judge and the jury to figure out. Anyway, for now, in advance of some sort of legal consequences, Ed Popper has already lost his job. He was an inspector with the Miami Beach Fire Department. So again, he was a public figure, vested with authority, looked up to and respected, carrying a gun around that he's ready to start just emptying his clip at anyone that bothers him on his commute. He was released on bond. He has a hearing set for April. We'll have to see what happens. It's apparently in Florida, so God only knows what they'll end up ruling when they hear this self-defense argument.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.